Okay, so I threw on a horror comedy called The Hyperborean, which is kind of like Succession, but with some horror in it. I actually turned off, so I want to make this clear up front. I tried to watch Succession. Everyone was loving it. Everyone was raving about it. And I was like, I got to get to this. I love Sarah Snook. So I was like, you know what? I got to check this thing out. I watched about a season and a half, and I just lost interest because I never went back to it, and it's because those are literally the people that I hate the most in the world. And I know that's kind of like part of the show, but like I cannot handle entitled rich pricks and me having to like deal with them or root for them in any way, shape, or form. No, thank you. I have all of my political beliefs on this and whatnot, so I don't want to get into that here. But this is like making me sit through torture. Like when I was watching Succession, these people are abysmal, and I cannot handle them. And you have similar kinds of vibes going on in here. There's this really rich guy, and he is changing the business. He's going to invest everything in this alcohol that he has in barrels. And lo and behold, we find out that there is an ice mummy in one of the barrels that breaks out and starts wreaking havoc. And then, of course, it's revealed that it's a Hyperborean. I mean, it's the fucking title of the film. Is that really a spoiler? I had no idea what the hell that was in the film, but I will say this for sure. Putting aside my opinion of the film, which I wasn't much of a fan of the film, I don't think it's bad, and I do think it has its audience. So I think definitely check out a trailer, see if that's kind of your vibe. But I honestly wasn't vibing with it. I found the horror and the comedy to be kind of unbalanced. I never really understood what way I was supposed to be taking it. Am I actually supposed to be taking this seriously? But then there's tons of other moments in it that are like silly. And I can do that where it's like a playful serious and somehow they can balance it. But for some reason, this one just didn't balance to me. And I didn't really like the characters, although I did think the actors were good. I thought they were totally fine. It has an amateurish quality to it, but it's a fine amateurish, so it's not something that's like, oh my god, this is unwatchable. Not at all. In fact, I'm sitting here reviewing it because I did sit through the whole goddamn thing. So it was watchable enough, and as far as like the creature goes and all of that stuff, that's all fine and well. But this is what I was gonna say, is that the film is much more interesting to go and like look into the Hyperborean, like what that is and the lore behind it and all of that. They describe it a little bit in the film, but when you actually go to research it, it's much more interesting than this film is. I'm not going to talk about that here, but I definitely implore you, if you don't even watch the film, look up what a Hyperborean is and kind of go down that rabbit hole for a little bit. I'd never heard of such a thing, but I found it pretty damn fascinating. So at least it led me down down that road, and it's something that I wouldn't mind revisiting and looking and delving deeper into. But yeah, man, I don't know. This one just wasn't working for me. I found the humor to be very on the nose and in a playful, silly way that I just personally don't connect with humorously. So I didn't find myself laughing. As far as any of the drama goes with the family and like the sister and like the reveals and like what happens with like kind of the, I don't want to say if it's like a twist ending or not. I don't honestly know what they're actually going for there. They're saying something. I think I mostly get it all. It doesn't seem like it's all that complex, but I was fairly checked out at that point. And when it ended, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. So that's just where I was with it. I just kind of walked through this thing like like just kind of uninterested. That's how I journeyed through this film with it. I just was kind of dragged along. Like, I wasn't kicking and screaming and being like, let me off, let me off. It was kind of just like, a boring tour you take through a museum, and you're like, okay, I'll look at the next painting. Okay. Yeah. All right. What's the next one? It's like that. That's like the best way. I've never come up with that description for any film ever, but I feel like that's the most apt description of a film like this ever, is taking like a tour that you paid for, and it's like interesting enough to not leave and request your money back, but not interesting enough to like be excited for the next thing. You just kind of roll with it because you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like I'm already here. I already paid for it. I might as well look. And you look at the next thing, you're like, yeah, I see the talent. Okay, I get it, but I don't see it. I don't care. This is how I was the whole time. So I think it's an interesting film, though. I think it's unique-ish. So I think it has its audience, and I think that they should go and check out the trailer. And if it compels them at all, they should give it a shot. This isn't a film that I'm like, it's trash. It's not trash. It's just not for me. So I implore you to look into it for yourself if you're into indie, unique horror comedies that utilize some very interesting kind of obscure lore. It's obscure to me. Maybe everyone's like, I don't know I know what a Hyperborean is. You never heard of such a thing? That happens every once in a while. Every once in a while I come across something and everyone seems to know what it is but me. You ever have that happen to you? Where you're just sitting there and you find out about something and then you're like, what the fuck is that? And then everyone around you is like, you don't know what that is? You're like, wait, what do you mean? You guys know what that is? You think everyone's going to agree with you? You say it so confidently, like, haha, what is this? What is this obscure thing? And then everyone's like, what do you mean? Like, I have a poster of that up in my bedroom. Something insane. You're like, what? What? All of a sudden, everyone around me is an expert in this fucking thing that I've never heard of. That could be what is the case here. But for me, I watched this alone, so I didn't have anyone to consult with on that to see how popular this lore is on the Hyperborean. But I did resist all urges to refer to this movie because it's such low hanging fruit. But I guess I didn't because now I'm bringing it up. But the Hyperborean, I was hyperbored. Ian, I definitely wanted to do it at first, and I was like, don't do it, and then I had to bring it up. But yeah, it's going to be brought up by somebody. Somebody's going to open up their review with, I was Hyperborean. Whatever. Anyways, yeah, it's an interesting film. I'll give it that. And I think we need more movies like this, though. So I'm not shitting on the film because I like when indie filmmakers take unique ideas and try unique things with them. And that's what this film does. It just didn't connect with me. So, hats off to them. I commend them for it. This one didn't work for me. So, take that for what you will, and I'll see you in the comments. All right, bye.